Okay, so today we're going to talk about equivalent equations. So first we're going to look at a few examples and then decide what equivalent equations are. So first, let's graph 9x plus 3y equals 18. So this is written in standard form, and how we can easily graph this is by finding the intercepts. So if we want to find out what the x-intercept is, we're going to substitute 0 for y. So we get 9x plus 3 times 0 equals 18, which is 9x equals 18, so x equals 2. So now we know that our x-intercept is 0, 2. So if we plot that, 2 zeros right here. And then now for the y-intercept, so we're going to set x equal to 0. So we have 9 times 0 plus 3y equals 18, which is 3y equals 18, so that we know y is 6. So our y-intercept is going to be 0, 6. Okay, and then we're going to plot or draw a line through those points. Let's see. Okay, so then we're going to draw a line. And then another line going the other way. Okay, so now we have arrows. So that's the equation of our line for 9x plus 3y equals 18. Okay, now let's take a look at another equation. Okay, y equals negative 3x plus 6. Okay, so here we know that m equals negative 3 and b equals 6. So that means that our slope is negative 3, 1. So this means that y is going to decrease by 3 for every 1 that x increases by. And our y-intercept is going to be 0, 6. So first we're going to plot our y-intercept, 0, 6. And then we're going to plot our next point using the slope. So it's going to go down 3 for every 1 that x increases. We're going to decrease y by 3 for every 1 that x increases by. And so on. So now let's draw a line through those points. Okay. And then we have our arrows. Okay, so let's take a look at these two graphs and their equations. So if we flip back and forth, okay, we notice that the two lines are exactly the same. So the first equation, let's remind ourselves, it's 9x plus 3y equals 18. And the second equation is y equals negative 3x plus 6. So let's write y equals negative 3x plus 6 in standard form. So again, how we would write this in standard form is we want the x and y on the same side. So we are going to add 3x to both sides. And then we get y plus 3x equals 6. Okay? And if we use a commutative property to switch these around, we get 3x plus y equals 6. And let's remind ourselves what the first equation is again. So the first equation is 9x plus 3y equals 18. So we saw that when we graphed these two, it was the exact same line. So why is it that these two equations, even though they look different, are the same line? Okay, so let's compare these two. So we know that the coefficients and the constant in this equation, a is 9, b is 3, and c is 18. And in this equation, a is 3, b is 1, and c is 6. We have primes for a, b, and c here because we don't want to confuse our a, b, and c's with this equation right here. Okay, so now we're going to look at ratios to help us determine whether or not these equations are equivalent. Okay, so what we're going to do, So we're going to divide the corresponding coefficients and constants. So A is going to be divided by A prime, B is going to be divided by B prime, and C is going to be divided by C prime. Okay, so when we divide that, we see that these three ratios are all equal to 3. All right, and when we have this relationship where the coefficients and the constants have an equivalent ratio, this means that these two equations are equivalent. Okay, now let's try to find an equation that is equivalent to 2x plus 3y equals 5. So here we know that A is equal to 2, B is equal to 3, and 5 is equal, or C is equal to 5. So in order to find an equation that is equivalent, we need to find an A prime, a B prime, and a C prime that gives us equivalent ratios. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to pick a constant. Okay, it could be anything. Okay, we're going to pick something easy. So I want the constant to be 0.5 or 1/2. So that means that I want my ratios to equal 1/2. And in order to do that, I know that A prime, B prime, and C prime are going to be twice as big as A, B, and C. So we're going to multiply the original equation by 2 to get this. So our equivalent equation is 4x plus 6y equals 10.